beautiful people. Welcome to the Mrs. Best Reviews channel. I am Mrs. Best. We are here to do our weekly recap and review of Double Wives. Double Lives, if I could get the title right. Double Lives of Suburban Wives. I'm excited to get into this. This is season 1, episode 3. This episode was appropriately titled The Girl Next Door. As always, I do hope that everybody coming in considers liking the video. I hope you consider subscribing to the channel. As always, I want to give a shout out to our amazing moderators. If any of them are in the chat or commenting afterward, thank you for supporting me and my channel. Thank you for helping the channel to be a safe space for everybody. But let's get into this review. We start this episode with Tammy and Macy. They are basically trying to understand why Megan and Brianna are just not able to get along. And I can understand why they don't understand the issue between the two, because Brianna is confused and thought that they were still okay. And Megan is the one that's really perpetuating an issue, but she's not wanting to explain to anybody outside of the camera in the confessional what's really going on. And Bri walks in and she's like, she admits, she's like, I can be difficult. She can be, I guess, like, not always the most pleasant, but she was frustrated because the girl is not telling her the reasons why she has a problem with her. And honestly, if I'm being entirely honest, y'all, I don't blame Brianna for being frustrated. If we are supposed to have a friendship and we have some sort of a problem, I would expect for you to tell me, hey, I got a problem with you. I'm going to need a minute. Or I would, at the very minimum, like, at least tell me what the problem is, or don't speak about it. Like, or speak to somebody. She's not speaking to anybody about it. So I totally get it. But Megan, please just talk about what's really bothering you. We don't need to do all of this like extra stuff. Just say what's on your chest and get it and get the answers that you need, because by being quiet, you're confusing everybody. And then in addition to that, you're not getting what you need to get off of your chest, off your chest. Say it, Megan. It's totally fine to say it, because if I had a suspicion that someone dogged me out and publicly did me dirty the way that Megan feels that Bri did her, oh, I'm speaking on it. Nothing and nobody could stop me. Nothing and nobody could stop me. So we are going to get into our newest couple, y'all. And our newest couple is Emily and Nathan. They've been added to the cast of this show. She's a mom of 4 with 10 pets. I know that house has a smell. I don't care what nobody says. If you have more than 4 dogs, I know your house stank to a certain extent. Even if it's clean, okay? Because just because something got a smell don't mean it's clean. There's going to be some type of a smell there. And for those who are like, that's not true, Mrs. Best, listen. I trained dogs for many years, okay? They don't smell good, even if you do your absolute best with them. Even if you do your absolute best. Either way, I do love the fact that they love the little animals and the creatures, because I am a person that prefers living things with 4 legs versus 2. And apparently her husband also has like a snake collection, and they do reptile shows and all sorts of stuff. So I thought that was kind of cool. Now, they met at work. He was her boss. And things, I guess, progressed quickly with them. They got together, got married. And according to both of them, they have not stopped having babies. They had their 4 kids very fast. Now, I'm cracking up because this lady says she's 37, but she looks well, like, past her 40s. But you know what? Not everybody's going to age the same. And I do appreciate Emily for being natural, so I will give her that. Now, apparently, Emily got into adult content because she could not afford to live. It sounds like they were poor. And I'm like, how did y'all go from him being your boss and you having a job to, I can understand kids being expensive, but they said they had to live with their mom. They said there was like a lot of stuff that was going on that was just like a struggle and made them less secure financially. I get it. Kids are extremely expensive. And I can imagine what it's like in other states. And California stuff is expensive, but they pay us what we weigh, if that makes sense to a certain extent. Looks like it's not so much that way in other countries, but that's neither here nor there. She's into occult content, and she does different types of content from the rest of these ladies. She's not just showing a little leg and taking it right back. This woman is farting on camera. Okay, she says she made $2,000 talking to an egg because somebody wanted her to lay an egg. I said, you did what? I'm going to go off camera for just a moment, you guys. I said, you did what, girl? Why are we pretending to lay eggs and talking to eggs? But then at the same time, I get it's considered adult, but if that's all I got to do to make $2,000, sign me up. Sign me up. Absolutely, sign me up. All you got to do is hop around and talk to some people. I'm not mad at it. Now, the farting on camera is strange, but if someone were to pay me the right amount of money, I'm mad at you. I am not mad at you, Emily. Now, she is proud to be natural. I guess people like to see content of her like stretch marks, and I like to call them the beauty marks of, you know, giving birth, because I don't like that women who've had children are embarrassed about their bodies. When really there's millions of women having children, so why should anybody feel embarrassed about their body? You've done a wonderful thing and brought a human into the world. Hello, that's a lot of work. But we also get to learn about Emily that she is somebody who cites herself as being awkward. Now she's like online, she's good and she pushes through, but she says in person she's awkward. And because she's been having babies and small children back to back for many years, she hasn't had much opportunity to meet girlfriends. I can kind of understand her. I can totally understand it as it relates to the being awkward. I'm more open on my YouTube channel because I know people who are like-minded, or people in general who enjoy the same things as I do are going to find their way to my channel. But in real life, you don't know if someone is going to enjoy the same things as you. You don't know how someone's going to, you know, perceive you. And I could be quieter and awkward too in real life. So I understood that, and I appreciated her being honest about it. Now, we're going to take a little pause from Emily and her husband, Nathan. But let me know how you guys felt in the comments about Emily and Nathan, because I like that they're adding a group that knows each other, but also adding someone who's kind of new, but into the same things. It kind of levels the playing field for them getting at each other if they have to get into it. But it also makes it interesting seeing someone try to blend with a bunch of women who know each other. So let me know how you guys feel about Emily and Nathan thus far. And I do appreciate anybody who is here. And I hope that you guys consider liking the video on your way in or out. We are going to get into our next topic of this episode. Tammy talking to her husband, Drew, about church. I appreciated this conversation because it was one of those conversations where you got something deeper and necessary that I felt was important to share to others. We got that out in a conversation about church. Tammy grew up Christian. Her faith is important to her, and it sounds like it's the same for Drew. They raised their children under the, you know, beliefs of Christianity, and they've been having a hard time because since it's become public that she does adult content, a lot of churches are not really with it. And we learned that she was kicked out of her last church. And for her, church is more than just faith. It's a sense of community and how she connects. So to be kicked out of the church, I can imagine feeling embarrassed. But she says her pastor told her, how can you look yourself in the mirror? Listen, this is why I don't go to church. I pray all the time. I consider myself to be a Christian, but I don't go to church because the worst Christians are in church every Sunday. And people can get mad at me. I'm not saying all of them who are there every Sunday are bad, but the bulk of them, the worst of the worst, are there every single Sunday. You cannot tell me you are a good Christian or call yourself a Christian if you are judging this woman off of how she makes her money. You have the right to tell her that it is not right. You have the right to tell her that she is going against what God wants. You do not have the right to just turn her away and judge her, because only God can judge, and that's in the Bible. So I don't like how they move as it relates to that, and I think it's unfortunate, and this is why a lot of people are turned off of church or don't take people seriously who enjoy church. This is why a lot of people are like that. But I'm with Drew. Drew told Tammy, he was like, listen, the only way I'm going to a church, I'm not going to waste my time. Drew said, I'll come back to church with the family if I could sit down with the pastor and say, look, this is what we do. You finna put us out? And honestly, I'm not mad at Drew. I'm not mad at Drew for that. I'm not going to waste my time and be giving to your establishment just for you to end up outing me from the church. You know, but I do appreciate them sharing that. I think it's unfortunate she has to give up a important part of like her community and who she is, but I do understand it because she goes against the values. But I thought church was supposed to be come as you are, all are welcome. I think that's crazy when we're excluding people from church just because they're gay or because they're doing adult content. Like, who made you God? Just saying. You have to remember, a pastor is a person trained in theology, okay? They are not going to have the makings and the characteristics of the Lord, okay? That's all. That's Mrs. Best's little word. Now, we see another scene later down the line with Tammy in church with her friend Jody, who Jody is not okay with the adult life, but Jody has the attitude I have. Hey, it ain't for me, but I don't care if you do it. It don't change how good you are to me. So I appreciated her friend Jody. Seeing Tammy cry like that in church over this, you know, crying over church, it was just unfortunate to see. What I will say is I did appreciate Tammy saying that she's going to pray that her heart remains soft, because I think that's important to keep a certain level of softness to yourself, because once that softness goes away, sometimes it's easier to get lost and lose sight of what's important to us and those things. So I do appreciate Tammy for being open about church. Now we gonna move back to Miss Emily, our newest cast member to the show, because Emily has a nosy ass neighbor, okay, named Rhonda. Rhonda is nosy as hell. She says they come on the block and they gossip. And what do you say, Emily? You have to know in your head, a woman that'll stand on the block and gossip with you about other people is a woman that will stand on the block with other people and gossip about you and spread rumors. You have to be careful of the company you keep, Emily. But I get it. You've been in the house raising these kids, and you may not have the best discernment, because I wouldn't tell Rhonda shit. I promise you I wouldn't. But Rhonda was asking questions. At first, she made it seem like they was just, you know, girlfriends, neighbors, almost like a Desperate Housewives situation. But Rhonda started asking, I see you guys got that new fancy Corvette. You only had this one for a couple of months. Last month, you had this car. And then you guys also had this. And I'm like, why are you clocking her purchases, Miss Rhonda? Why are you clocking her purchases? Nosy as hell. Now, I'm all for a neighborhood watch to keep the neighborhood safe. But bitch, mind your business. My God. Nosy, nosy, nosy. Now, I'm not going to lie, though. I'm a true crime fan, not to get sidetracked. So people like Miss Rhonda, who are that nosy, are the people in the true crime who can say, I saw it. They came at this time, so it couldn't have been him that unalived that person. He was here. Okay? Miss Rhonda's the one who probably sees everything that comes through. She sees everything that comes through the neighborhood. Okay? Everything. She was just funny to me how in her face with the nosiness she was. But we learn after she talks to Rhonda. Rhonda does not know she does content. She's considering telling Rhonda. With Emily, it seems like the people closest to them are aware of what they do, and they keep it at that. And she goes inside, and we learn now while her kids are at school, that's when she's making this content and doing custom videos. That's where we seen her hopping around, talking to eggs after hatching and laying them. I said, what kind of foolery is this? What in the world am I watching? This show is so good, y'all. It's a new show, but I genuinely enjoy it because the stuff that they do and say is just so unconventional. It's the funniest thing ever. But we come back to Megan because Megan planned a brunch for Emily, Macy, and Heather to attend. And Emily is new to the group, and she gets there, and I guess she was supposed to be at the barbecue they had where everything blew up with Bree and Megan. And, you know, Emily's asking questions like anyone would. You're coming into a friend group. I need to know who's getting along and who's not. Because whether you like it or not, Macy, okay, people are going to be telling her what's what, and she's going to be made uncomfortable coming into the group having to deal with y'all and your stuff. But at the table, everything's okay. But Macy kind of got at Emily really hard because she seems to think that Emily's going to ruin the group. And Macy, you're just selfish. I'm sorry, you're selfish. And you're proving the negative stereotypes about judgmental Christians to be true. Because something that Emily said that made sense is Macy points out that she doesn't want anyone in the group to be judged. She doesn't want drama to happen because she is still focusing on coming out as an adult content creator to her family, her church, her community. And she's watching what's happening with Bree, what's happening with Megan, all the drama. and she's looking at it like, oh, this could potentially happen to me. That part I understand with Macy. The part I don't understand is ousting this woman out so that she can't get to know you. Instead of viewing Emily as a direct threat to your village, why don't you view her as a necessary added addition to your village and an extra person and added support? Why are you getting at this girl for asking questions? You're on a fucking TV show at the end of the day, Macy. So I don't like how Macy's moving, playing a little mean girl and judgy. And I was happy Emily pointed that out in the confessional, because the feelings that you don't want to feel, you're giving those feelings to Emily. I did partially agree with that. But at the same time, Emily, it's okay to ask questions, but you got to know how to ask questions when you come into a group. You can't just be asking. But also, Macy, mind your fucking business, because if Megan felt like the questions were messy and uncomfortable, I'm sure Megan would have stopped her. But then again, I'm not too sure, because Megan can't even tell her friend that they're not friends no more. But I just felt like Macy did a little bit too much. Let me know how you guys felt about it. I don't dislike Macy at all. She hasn't irked me to that. She hasn't really irked me at all. I was just kind of like, girl, you're doing a little bit too much. Calm down. But I get it, because I'm sure she has like heightened anxiety, knowing that once this show comes out, she's outed. There's nothing she could do. There's no taking it back. So I'm just taking it as maybe Macy's, maybe the chemicals from that Party City wig that she throw on her head in them videos is impacting her or something. It could be anything, but I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt this time. This time, okay? Now, the last thing we see of this episode is Megan and Brianna meet up finally, just the two of them at a cute little restaurant. And I was happy to see this, because I feel like, Megan, you have a right to feel how you feel, and your feelings are valid. Nobody can tell you that they're not. But you don't get to talk about other people, make them out to be the problem, and not even let them know that there is a problem. That's childish. Be an adult and have a big girl conversation. So she's finally doing that. And she does admit to feeling bad for shutting out Brianna. And Brianna asked her, like, what did I do that's so bad? And Megan mentions that she does wonder if Brianna could have been the one that outed her as it relates to her adult content creation. Now, based on Bree's face, I don't know how this is going to go. We're still getting to know these ladies. I mean, it's episode 3. But I'm really hoping that Bree did not out her. Just because that would be foul. Like, it's not your place. There's no reason to do that. And how dare you, because you know what it feels like, Bree, to go through that. If you did do that, how dare you? Because to know what it feels like and then want someone else to feel that pain who's supposed to be a friend, that's messed up. But I have a feeling it wasn't Brianna. I just have a feeling it wasn't Brianna. Let me know what you guys are leaning towards. I'm glad these two are conversating, and I'm excited to see what will happen after this conversation with the series. But I am enjoying double lives of Suburban Wives. I mean, it's interesting. It is different. Let me know if you guys are watching another TLC show that is returning called 1,000 Pound Roomies with Misha, and I can't remember the other one's name right now. But I do love that show. I don't know if I'd cover it, but I do love that show. Let me know if you guys are watching that. Other than that, some new reviews I'll have coming this week. This Saturday, me and Kiwan JTV will be doing our Beauty in Black review live for the premiere. I'm going to be having a pop culture live also this week on Wednesday or Thursday. I can't remember which day. And I'm going to be getting a weekly schedule out to you guys a couple minutes after this video. So tap in. But as always, I hope that you guys consider liking the video on your way in or out, or on your way out since we're at the end of this video. I do appreciate and thank everybody. A big shout out to my amazing moderators in the chat. I appreciate you guys for helping to support the channel. And other than that, beautiful people, I will see you for the next review of